want to talk to you about a couple of things. First of all, your overall thoughts on the Lakers defeating Miami, and once again, the championship is back here in Los Angeles, where you helped to bring so many.
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I think it's an amazing, I think, positive impact on just the city of LA, the fans, the people that have supported the Lakers, for so long and over this last decade, and then to bring it all full circle this year in 2020. All of Laker Nation has continued to feel the loss of Kobe Bryant and Gianna and the families and folks that we lost on January the 26th. And this championship represents so much more than basketball. I'm just really happy for the city, happy for Jeannie and the Bus family, Frank Vogel and their coaching staff, Rob Pelinka. This is for everybody. So it's an exciting time for sure.
And of course, it's only right that they would do it in memory of Kobe.
Yeah, I mean, we'll forever feel his absence, but we also will forever feel his presence. And so for the team to still feel his presence, the Mamba mentality, the tenacity, the discipline, the commitment, and the attention to detail that it takes to be a championship team, these guys are going to carry that with them, and all of us, hopefully, for the rest of our lives. For as long as we're here, we're going to try our best to carry Kobe's approach to things into everything that we do. And this is also for Vanessa and for their three girls, and obviously for Gianna as well, always.
I know I learned from you a long time ago that the closeout game in a championship series is always the most difficult one to accomplish. Yeah. But this last game, man, they made it look so easy. It was like they were on that mission to leave no doubt that this was going to be the end and the title was coming back.
Yeah, no question about it. I think their experience in game number 4 is what really sharpened the iron and sharpened the edge for what was later to happen in game 5 and then game 6. Like they got up, 3-1, and like you just said, to try and eliminate a team is so difficult. And the Miami Heat came out in game 5 and they won a really highly competitive game. And I think winning game 6 was an example of how we all have to learn things in life through success and through failure, right? And they took some things that they learned in game 4 and 5 and put them to use in game 6. And I think from day one, Frank Vogel and his coaching staff wanted this team to hang their hat on the defensive end, to have a defensive identity. And they got back to that in game 6. And it made it almost impossible for Miami to get anything going offensively.
Because one time during a timeout, Frank Vogel said, "Gentlemen, keep going because we're on the verge of a defensive masterpiece." And that's something that you don't hear that often in the huddle.
No, because offense is typically what sells. And the highlights are typically of great offensive plays, and the plays defensively. Obviously, historically, LeBron has made great defensive plays and blocks in the finals and on the biggest stages. But Anthony Davis's impact and commitment on the defensive end, who arguably, was, I'm sure, almost the defensive player of the year, even though Giannis won the award. But also the other guys, Rondo's impact in game 6 offensively, but he's always had a defensive identity and a feel for the game on that end of the floor. KCP, Danny Green, Dwight Howard's role this year and what he was able to contribute defensively. Like the entire team, I don't know if there's any championship where you could ever say that it was truly a team championship when you consider the sacrifices and what all of those guys had to go through to put themselves in this position.
Because this had to be, I would think, the most difficult championship to win because of what you're talking about, being in the bubble, going for 3 months and all of the things that they had to go through, fighting the pandemic, and then to still have to concentrate on training and getting ready to play basketball.
Yeah, I mean, with the Sparks, we had our own kind of bubble experience, and it wasn't easy. And the Seattle Storm were able to move on and win the championship, and they deserve a lot of credit for it. And what the Lakers were able to accomplish under these circumstances, and everything that they stood for and were fighting for in terms of social justice and racial inequalities and voting rights and everything else that is, in a lot of ways more important than basketball, to balance all of it and still figure out a way to be a championship team. They just deserve a tremendous amount of credit. They deserve to be celebrated at the right time, where people can gather again. But right now, in whatever way everybody can celebrate safely, this team is definitely to be celebrated.
And, Derek, the things you just got through talking about, what this year's Lakers club has done, goes along with everything else that every other Laker championship team has done. They've always been there for the community. They've always been there for racial equality. They've always been there for what's right. And there were a lot of times and a lot of years when you were right there leading the way.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about sports. And I believe that's why many of us love it as much as we do, is that sports does help to break down the barriers and the differences and the things that we like to focus on that are negative in life. Sports breaks through those things. And regardless of what part of Southern California or the West Coast or the East Coast or around the globe, if you love the Lakers, your skin color is irrelevant. Your bank account is irrelevant. What kind of car you drive, what kind of house you live in. If you love the Lakers, you're part of a community of people that all have something in common. And I think that's why the sports leagues, and in particular the NBA, fought so hard to get their season back. And I know that was a big part of still having the season on the WNBA side, was because it was more about how it would help others and to bring people together, more so than even the league itself. Like the Lakers winning a championship and having that opportunity, that means something to LA. And so we're fortunate that they were able to do it. The Dodgers are still going. They'll have a chance. And then hopefully next season, the Sparks will have a chance in 2021 to get into that conversation.
Oh, yeah. Then it'll be the Triple Crown, because I keep telling everybody this is the sports capital of the world.
It really has become that, what the city has become with the Rams and the Chargers being at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. And even though we're obviously talking about a Lakers championship, there are many people that feel the Clippers are getting closer and have an opportunity to be successful in the future as well. And so sports is alive, and it's a big deal in LA. And I think the community is happy. It's been a difficult year for a lot of reasons. And so, anything that can send positive energy our direction, let's welcome it all day and every day.
Do you think this is the beginning of a little run by the Lakers? Because LeBron, like you, like Kobe, like MJ, he looks for things to motivate him so he can prove people wrong.
Yeah, well, those guys are in a different weight class than I'm in. I carry the mouthpiece and get the water for those guys, and they let me hang out when they train. In all seriousness, when you look at LeBron's performance level this season, it was an MVP type of year. He was a Finals MVP, and there wasn't anything that gave me or anybody any indication that he's slowing down anytime soon. And then when you have Anthony Davis, who continues to mature and evolve in his game and becoming a champion. And one thing that Anthony said after the game himself, once you get a taste of that championship champagne, there's nothing else that you want to taste after that. And so I imagine that these guys, after they enjoy this one, they're going to be pretty driven to figure out a way to come back and have an opportunity to win one again next season. And many of these guys are on their roster or under contract for next year. So they should have a high percentage of their roster returning, which makes for good consistency and understanding of the philosophy and what Frank wants to accomplish. And those are all positive things.
You hear other people talk about winning championships, And LeBron talked about when he won a championship in Cleveland. He talked about when he won a championship in Miami. But when he talks about winning a championship here as a Laker, it takes on a whole new meaning, because when the Lakers are successful in winning championships, the whole city is in a different kind of glow, a different kind of vibe is in the air now.
Yeah, there's no question about it. This is a special city and a special town. What Dr. Buss was able to build and create here in Los Angeles, Magic, Kareem, James Worthy, Byron Scott, Michael Cooper, Kurt Rambis, Michael Thompson, on down the list, Mitch Kupchak, Jerry West, the history and the tradition here doesn't compare to any other city in the world in terms of, in particular, basketball excellence and sports excellence. And when you win championships here, it's different than anywhere else. And LeBron, who has won championships in multiple places, like you mentioned, it would be interesting to have a conversation with him, as he experiences being a champion in LA and in the purple and gold, and how different it feels to winning in Cleveland and Miami. And, again, it doesn't look like there's anything that's going to prevent he and the team from having the opportunity to do it again in the future.
Derek, don't sell yourself short now. You're in the record books as well for being the great basketball player that you were, and you were responsible for a lot of championships, a lot of good days here with the Lakers.
Well, I was very fortunate to have great teammates, to great coaches, people that supported myself and our teams, family, friends, like this community, Lakers fans, it's all a part of it. And I think that's another thing that's special about sports, right? I grew up watching and idolizing the teams in the 80s that won championships. And never in a million years could I have imagined as a young kid in Little Rock, Arkansas, becoming a Laker player and winning 5 championships. And now the Lakers they are creating those dreams and those visions for young kids that are, they want to be in the NBA 10 years, 15 years from now. It changes people's lives. It fuels dreams and it inspires people. And, I think what LeBron does on a daily basis and what this team represents, it is inspiring and motivating for so many. And we need it. It's not just about our sports stars and celebrities providing it, but it definitely helps to have good examples of how to build successful things. And this team for sure is one for the ages.
And they love the platform that they have, like you, because you know that it's almost like I say it so many times from Dr. King. One of my favorite sayings is, giving back to your fellow mankind is one of the most noble things that anyone can do. You, Derek Fisher, gives back to your fellow mankind. Magic gives back to your fellow mankind. And you look at today's modern athlete, here's LeBron leading the way of giving back to his fellow mankind. So this all adds up and leads to what a Laker really is all about.
Well, that's what, I think we all strive for when we're growing up as young boys and young men. There's a recognition that you don't get to this position by yourself. The image of, and the story of LeBron calling his mom, from the locker room, to celebrate with her and to say thank you. I'm sure that your only reason you're in this position is because of the sacrifices of others. And so once you get a chance to put that jersey on in the NBA, you have an opportunity to play for a championship and win titles. You have a responsibility, but you don't necessarily feel like it's an obligation. You feel like it's what you want to do. And I think LeBron represents that, but we all had the example of what Magic meant to this city, the way he represented it, the things that he did, and those that came before him. We all had the opportunity to learn and grow from those guys. And hopefully, we can be examples for those that are coming behind us in terms of doing things and impacting the community. And, that's all we can hope for. It's about more than basketball. And I think these guys today are talking about it and representing it as much as anybody ever has.
You've always been one to learn lessons. You've always talked about what you have learned from your experiences. What have you, as Derek Fisher and head coach of the Sparks, what have you learned from all of the controversy that we have been going through the last year or so with social injustice and the pandemic and all these other things that we're going through right now. What has Derek Fisher learned that's going to help him in the future?
I think through many life experiences, and specifically this year, my life and our lives will never be the same past January the 26th. And losing Kobe, I think, crystallizes in the importance of doing things now. And there isn't really a tomorrow. Like we're hoping that we see tomorrow. We're hoping that next year comes. We're hoping those things that we want to do 3 years from now or 5 years from now can be there for us. But it's really today. And I think as a father, as a partner in a relationship and in a marriage, as a Black man in this community, things that need to be done and said now have to be done and said now, because you don't get another chance tomorrow automatically. Life happens too quickly. And so the takeaway for me at this point is everything that I do, it has to have significant impact. Like if something were to happen to me, I want my kids, I want my family, I want the community in Little Rock, the community in LA, the world to feel like there was something positive that I brought into this life other than just making baskets and winning championships. So it's bigger than basketball. And my hope and my desire is to, as many things as I can do today to be helpful and be a positive member of the society. That's what I'm trying to do.
That's giving back to your fellow mankind.
That's the goal, Jim. None of this is for us to only do for us, right? Like we are not put in this position to only enjoy the benefits of it for ourselves and for our family. The performance, the success, the failures, the way things happen, the mistakes, the things that people can learn from, like it's all designed to make this world a better place. And I think this team this year has inspired a lot of us, right? Like to continue to push through adversity, to persevere, to push through when it seems unlikely, when people are questioning you, doubting you, second guessing you, hating on you, like to continue to push for what you want, to continue to speak out for what you believe in. I think those are all positive things. And, I'm fortunate to have been in that position at one point as a player and now just trying to help our players to understand what they represent for young girls and for women around the world and the example that they can be.
You've learned from your lady basketball players, and I know you can hardly wait to get back on the floor and get started again as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, these women are unbelievable. Like to be mothers and still trying to find a way to be the greatest basketball players in the world. We could go on and on about the differences between the W and the NBA, but I'm really inspired by what our players and the women in this league have done historically to be voices, to use their platform to create a better world and a better place, but seeing it firsthand on a daily basis when many of us are conditioned not to support women's sports the same way we support men's sports. And I want to thank you and the network for always taking the time to visit with us and support our players and have these conversations, because it's important. We have a responsibility to make sure that girls and women feel just as equal and validated and appreciated for what they do and what they accomplish in life and sports and business, the same way we do boys and men. And that has nothing to do with pay and equity like that. That's another conversation. But there's no reason why we can't take the time to turn on the television and watch and support what girls and women are doing, the same way we watch boys and men, because it's the right thing to do. And sometimes in life, whether we want to or not, whether that's our favorite thing to do or not. We still do it because it's the right thing to do. And, I love this opportunity. I'm enjoying it, embracing it. And again, just hoping to be a part of a championship organization again really soon.
And I can't thank you enough. You know, you've done so much for me in my career. You're one of the reasons why I'm having a really cool career. And I just want to thank you, Fish, for being the man that you are and for what you're doing for us as young people, or just people in general, because you know how people listen to you and they react on your every word. You're everything that's good about sports. You're everything that's good about mankind, Derek. And thanks so much, man. Good luck and keep the faith.
I appreciate it, Jim. Jim, you're just cool, bro. Like, I didn't make you cool. You just cool, man. And I appreciate the support and the relationship we built over these years. And again, man, I moved in here 24 years ago. I never could have imagined the life experiences and the relationship that I have with the city of LA, and it has with me. I'm thankful. I'm grateful. Been able to be a part of some successful championship teams in the NBA. And now I want to try and do as much as I can on the WNBA side to create those same experiences.